in due season. In fact, research has been done that shows that those who study regularly Ellen White's writings have a more consistent spiritual and devotional life than those who don't. The research also says that those who study Ellen White's writings more often also study their Bibles more often than those who don't study her books. So why? Because her writings challenge you to go and study the what? The Bible. Let's now move on to number 2. The prophet must be 100% accurate. Was she? Now, Ellen White was not known for being a prophet or prophesying the future. Like John the Baptist, she was not called for the work of predicting the future. Her work was more of reforming Christianity and helping to prepare the church in the last days for the second coming of who? Of Jesus. What she has given us is a detail of the events that are going to take place in the last days, expanding on the great lines of prophecy in Daniel and Revelation. But she didn't bring anything new that did not exist before. On talking about her accuracy, I would wish to consider her counsels on health, some of which Dr. Njogu has covered, but I'm just going to use this for this class of mine. We never met with Dr. Njogu, but the Spirit of God led us in that direction independently. Ellen White had a lot to say about health and nutrition. And her principles of health and nutrition have been verified by the world's leading health organizations. And several times, the doctors of Ellen White's knowledge was always 100 years ahead of her time. Almost always. Let me begin with a few of those. Ellen White wrote that God pledged himself to keep this human machinery, the body, in healthful action. On what condition? If the human agent did what? Will obey his laws and do what? Cooperate with God. So if you obey the laws of God and cooperate with him, then you're going to live a healthy life. Every law governing the human machinery is to be considered just as truly divine in origin, in character, and in importance as the Word of God. The laws of health are just as divine as the 10 Commandments because they originate from who? From God, who created the body. What are those laws? She even told us the laws. Pure air, sunlight, abstemiousness or temperance, rest, the one we just covered today, isn't it? Exercise, what else? That was yesterday, proper diet, the use of water, and then what else? Trust in divine power. I remember Daniel's diet has been told to us, isn't it? These, she says, are the true remedies. Now I want to say that Ellen White's counsels on health are both preventive and restorative. Let me use that. So it will prevent sickness, but also for those who have fallen sick, it will help in recovery. That's our health message. Now these laws of health, we have put them in the acronym that now we know as New Start, just reorganizing them. So what an Adventist needs every time they think of their health is I need a new start with the help of God. Now when we follow these counsels, Ellen White has promised that God will keep this body in good health. Is that true? Yes. Let's now see whether that has happened. I hope you have heard of the blue zones, have you? I hope so. The places on earth where people live the longest. And one of those places was found where? In Loma Linda, where which people live. Seventh-day Adventist. And so in 2009, the U.S. News had this 10 health habits that will help you to live up to what age? Up to 100. And one of them, number 8, was this one. What was it? If you want to live up to 100, do what? Live like a Seventh-day Adventist. I think they should have added in bracket in Loma Linda. Live like a Seventh-day Adventist. Americans who define themselves as Seventh-day Adventists have an average life expectancy of 89. They live about a decade longer than the average American. Is that by accident? Or there is a reason? One of the basic tenets, these are just the world reporting about these Adventists. One of the basic tenets of the religion is that it is important to cherish the body, that it is on loan from God, which means no smoking, no alcohol abuse, or overindulging in sweets. Followers, Seventh-day Adventist followers, typically stick to what kind of diet? A vegetarian diet based on fruits, vegetables, beans, and nuts. And they get, are we not in line with doctors' words for yesterday and today? They get plenty of what? Exercise. They have a vegetarian diet. They are also very focused on family and community. Is this not with the stewardship of the morning? Relationships within the family of God. So the world has found that Adventists have a secret. Unfortunately, it's the Adventists in America. We are trying to help the Adventists in Gilead. So that when they come and sample us, they may say, okay, these guys are going to live 15 years longer. I hope that we can benefit like that. How do these people, why did they choose a vegetarian diet? Because they were listening to the counsel of Ellen White. Ellen White had written long ago that in a short time it will not be safe to use anything that comes from the animal creation. The question is why? Are we like the Legio people or these African traditional religions who condemn a certain food just because of certain superstition? Or was it built on scientific evidence? I know a church that don't eat so this vegetable from Kisii is called what? Yeah? That one. They don't eat it just. Why? Why don't you eat it? We just don't eat it, you know. It is. Ellen White said that if meat eating were ever healthful, it is not safe when? Now. Why? What was her reason? Health reason. Cancers, tumors, and pulmonary diseases are largely caused by what? By meat eating. Who showed her that? When in her day people were freely eating and science had not discovered that. It was not until 100 years later after her death in 2015 that the World Health Organization said now we are seeing a strong link between, there's a connection between the processed meats and cancer. It's a strong link. So reduce, avoid, if you want healing. Who gave her that information that the scientists only needed 100 years to discover? It came from the very throne room of God. Now, it's not just us who realize this, but even the world itself. Former US President Bill Clinton, going vegan has kept me what? Alive. While for us in the church, going vegan is killing us, isn't it? He says that the vegan diet is what I like the best, he said. I have more energy, I never clog. For me, the no dairy thing, because I had an allergy, has helped me a lot and I feel good. And I am with him. I used to be very allergic. I used to have asthmatic attacks until they said post eggs and milk. God has been gracious. By the way, since 2012 to 2024, those are 12 years, isn't it? I have not eaten flesh. If I backslide, I taste eggs. If I backslide, for the sake of balancing when I don't see anything else, but I have not tasted flesh, do I look like I'm dying? Now, for those years that I've spent since 2016 to date, those are 8 years, I've been constantly on mission all year long. And when I go on mission, I preach for 1 month, missions, crusades, and I finish this one and I go to the next. I can attest before God's people I have never fallen sick. No, never. I have not taken any medicine